Joe Burrow is getting absolutely failed by parts of the Cincinnati Bengals team. It is not good whatsoever. When your quarterback is first in passing yards, has this many passing touchdowns, and very, very little turnovers, and your team is 4-7, desperately looking into the hunt, there's something wrong with the team that isn't the quarterback and the offense whatsoever. There's a deeper problem with the Cincinnati team because the offense is great. It's been great for all the years that Burrow has been there, but obviously there's something deeper with the team that is wrong, which I'm going to talk about that on today's video. And if you've been watching the NFL for a couple of weeks, you probably know exactly what a couple of their problems is in Cincinnati. But before I get into it, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. It is very much appreciated. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We are so close, so make sure you drop a follow, and all my socials are in the description right there, so go ahead and give me a follow on all of those right there. For you people out there who use the real app, Crumbletakes, you go ahead and give me a follow on there. But now guys, let's get straight into the video because it's going to be an interesting one. I've already briefly touched over the offense, explaining how good Joe Burrow has been this year. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, talk about some of the players on here who are currently getting failed, and then I'm going to 100% go into the 3 biggest problems I see with the Cincinnati Bengal team, and one of them even involves the future of the Bengals. So you guys heard me, I start off the video talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is debatably an MVP candidate right now if his team is not trash. First in passing yards, first in passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's lighting up the stat book. He's making play after play every single week, and this team is still not winning football games, which is not on him. I'll get into that a little bit later. He's having an outstanding season. If the Bengals were trash, he'd be an MVP candidate. I think everybody can agree with that. I think Jamar Chase has been the best wide receiver in the NFL this season. He's first in receiving yards, second in touchdowns with 12, and averages 6 receptions per game. Every single night he's been balling for this Bengals team. Doesn't matter what matchup it is. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to go ahead and cook and help this Bengal team out. Higgins, he's been injured throughout the year, but hey, when he's been healthy, he's been able to put up some great games for them. Higgins has been healthy. He actually has a higher target percentage than Jamar Chase, so you can see how much Burrow likes throwing to Higgins and how impactful he is on this offense. Chase Brown has broken out to the RB1 in this Bengals offense. He's clearly the Joe Mixon replacement. He's also been great this season at rushing and receiving the ball. And then Mike Gesicki's been a great tight end for them. So all bases pretty much this offense is covered. 6 in points per game with 27, first in passing yards, 27th in rushing yards. But you know what? I won't blame that on Chase Brown because at the beginning of the year, it took him a while to figure it out with the run game. 4th in touchdowns with 36, yards per play, 5.7, and they're 26 in total turnovers per game on the offense. So they don't even turn over the ball either, but they still find ways to lose. And that's not on them. That's on the problems that I'm about to get into right now. We're going to talk about the biggest problem with the Cincinnati Bengal team this year, and you already know it's going to be a problem. I think one of the biggest problems with the defense is they're always giving up points every single game. I mean, when you're 28th in points per game on the defense, giving up 26.9 points consistently, there's going to be a problem there where your offense has to be perfect, and if they're not, you're going to lose the football game because they're always giving up so many points. I mean, if you look at their schedule, they constantly were giving up 30 points to Philly. I mean, what, 41 to the Ravens? I mean, these are some good teams, yes, but still, you're not going to win games when your defense is giving up all these points. And teams have just been able to light them up. I mean, 23rd in passing yards per game, 21st in rushing yards per game, giving up 130 rushing yards per game is insane. Passing 225, these aren't good whatsoever. Then you have opponent touchdowns. They've given up 36 touchdowns this season, which is 30th in the NFL. And this team has 19 sacks on the season, which is 29th. And you know something about those 19 sacks that they have? Trey Hendrickson has been putting on a special season. He has 11.5 of those sacks. He's first in the NFL. So if it wasn't for him, they would have like 8 sacks this year if it wasn't for him, since he has 11.5 of them, which is very sad for this Bengal team, showing that they can't get any pressure on the quarterback and they're just unable to stop any offense in the NFL, which is kind of sad because, the least points per game they went ahead and gave up was 7, and that was to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is not on an NFL team right now. One of the players that were supposed to be really good on this Bengal team was Cam Taylor-Britt, and he's been horrible this season. A PFF rating of 55.7. I mean, that's garbage. I feel like every single Bengal game that I watch, she's consistently getting cooked, getting barbecue chicken. It's not fun whatsoever. It's actually pretty disgusting. And I really feel bad for the Bengals offense, knowing that, they just came off the field with an 80-yard touchdown, like in that Chargers game, when they were getting blown out in the first half and they started to come back, and you know what? They were getting some stops, but towards the end of the game, I knew the Chargers were gonna go ahead and get the victory just because of the fact that the Bengals defense, it's so bad. Consistently, the defense has showed how bad it is throughout the season. They have no good players really besides Hendrickson. And I'm gonna go into this a little bit later, talking about the future and, and why them having a bad defense now is gonna even be a bigger problem in the future. Let's talk about the Bengals head coach, Zac Taylor, because every Bengal fan I know, I think they can all agree that they are fed up with this guy, Zac Taylor, which I could see why, because I honestly think it is time for a coaching change in Cincinnati. And I genuinely feel the only reason why this guy still has a job is because, you know, they went to the Super Bowl one time. But I feel like it's the only reason why he has a job. If it wasn't for that, he would have been fired already. But also, they have a very passive ownership, as you can see. I mean, what, the Bengals are 4-7 right now, and they even decided to go ahead and make any type of change. They're just sitting there on the bye week without any changes. What I feel like is really weird. If you're a 4-7 team and, you know, you're trying to win a championship with this insane offense, you know, you would think you'd be trying to make a change and do something and not just sit at 4-7 and do nothing about it. But back to what I was talking about, Zac Taylor. I just feel like he's kind of overrated, man. I haven't really seen anything special from dude. I honestly feel like it's Burrow chasing the offense, carrying him every single year. Yeah, like, just I've seen nothing special with dude. Another thing is, in one possession games this year, the Bengals get absolutely dominated in them. If they would have won these one possession games, they'd have a winning record. I mean, 6 points to the Patriots, 1 point to the Chiefs, 5 to the Commanders, and I could just keep going on and on. If you look at the Bengals schedule, they've been so close in so many games. Look at the point differentials right here I have on the real app. Look how close that is with some of the games. Do something differently those games, they would win the game. And you could say, oh, well, in that KC game, Burrow fumbled, they didn't do anything versus New England. You could pick apart little moments and stuff like that, but I still genuinely feel like you can't fully place the blame on the offense with them playing so well. Some of this gotta go on Zac Taylor, because like you would think you would just have better play calls or like something to go ahead and, you know, do something different, but you know, they keep losing close games, and I'm putting that on Zac Taylor, man. See nothing special about this guy, and I genuinely think if the Bengals miss the playoffs this year, they're gonna make a coaching change this offseason, which this offseason is gonna be crucial for the Cincinnati Bengals. Leading into my next detail, they are going to be the definition of broke. And when you look at Joe Burrow's contract, it doesn't look horrible for the next coming years. You can see they backloaded it a lot to 2029 and 2028. Like next year, he's only due to make $25 million. But I mean, when you look at Joe Burrow's contract, they backloaded it to 29 and 28, which is cool. I mean, next year he's only supposed to get paid $25 million. But when you talk about a team like the Bengals, how many things they got to pay? You have to pay Jamar Chase, and you have to make him the highest paid receiver, or he's going to want to leave. He's not going to want to deal with that no more. Last year, of course, we had the holdout situation. He wanted to get paid. He literally said he just wanted one more penny more than Justin Jefferson. He just wants to get called the highest paid receiver, which, you know what? If he's balling out like that, I respect his game. Dude's been playing out of his mind. He deserves to have the best receiver money in the NFL. But not only that, you got T. Higgins. They're not going to be able to pay Chase and Higgins. It would be a miracle if they're able to go ahead and keep both, but I don't think the Bengals are going to have money for that. And when you're tied up in all this money in the offense between, you know, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, he's playing, he might want to raise soon. I mean, there's so many things that this Bengal team is going to have to go and figure out contract-wise, and your defense is still trash. Which, you know, the defense being trash is just, they're going to have to spend more money. If they don't have money, they're going to have to spend, or you could go ahead and draft. But, you know, the draft classes for the Bengals over the past 2 years haven't been outstanding. Murphy, I mean, what has he done for the Bengals? Absolutely nothing. DJ Turner in 2023, 2022, Daxton Hill, Cam Taylor-Britt, which is supposed to be someone good. If you look at their draft classes ever since, you know, that 2021 where they smashed on Jamar Chase, and the year before that in 2020 where they went ahead and drafted, you know, Joe Burrow, these draft classes hasn't been great. Duke Toppin has not been good at drafting, it's looking like, over the past couple of years. And when your defense sucks and you need to go ahead and draft players like that and you're not hitting on any of them, it's just gonna affect you massively, like we're seeing this season with them having such a bad defense. Looking at that, they're really gonna have to rely on the draft going forward on drafting good defensive players, because without that, they're not gonna be able to spend a ton of money. So genuinely, I think this year in the draft, the biggest thing they need to focus on is defense, and just go nuts on it. If you gotta use every one of your picks to draft defense this year, I don't even blame you. Defense and O-line, I feel like it's the biggest need for Cincinnati going into the offseason this year. I can say the biggest things failing Cincinnati is the defense and Zac Taylor, and I think the future for the Cincinnati team is gonna be in a huge question just with the position they're currently in, how much money they currently have. Honestly, I'm scared for the future of the Cincinnati team, because, you know, they're gonna have to do a lot of carrying in the future unless they are able to hit on some draft picks, because, man, it has not been well for them whatsoever. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, they're all being failed by the rest of the parts of this Bengal team, because if it wasn't for them, this Bengal team would be the definition of a #1 draft pick team. Giving a huge shout out to those guys right there. And you know what? If the Bengals somehow do salvage the season and make the playoffs and become a wild card team in the AFC, it's gonna be because of those guys right there, not because of the defense. But if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. It is very much appreciated. Let me know what you guys think about the Cincinnati Bengal team in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video coming out next week.